Sure.
Okay, so good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to this another day two of our high level interaction session on sustainability, which we call as the way forward for the future development and nation building. So, similar to what we had this sort of discussion in and around sustainability, its importance for the development of the country, its importance for the youth who are certainly aspiring to again solve this crisis that we are supposed to face or what we have been facing now, which is the climate crisis. So, taking ahead with this interactive or with this like discussion, I would say, where experts coming on from different sectors or from the different, I would say, the part of the society, people from industry, people from certainly who are working with the communities, people from government, they're coming on. So today with us, we are having our esteemed guest, Mr. Ajay Phatak sir, who is again the managing trustee at Ecological Society. We have Mr. Simardeep Syal, who is again a President of India awardee for the National Service Scheme. We will be also joined by one of our Indian Forest Services administrator, Mr. Vaikar. So he'll be joining in a while. So first of all, I'd like to welcome everyone and just like to give you a brief idea of this particular conference that or interaction session that we are having. So the conference is being jointly organized by TERRE Policy Centers, Smart Campus Cloud Network, and Mazha Career Guide Foundation. So the objective of this program is for with the aim to create an opportunity for academicians, researchers, professionals from both private and public sector, civil society, state and central government professionals from Pan India to actually meet and exchange their ideas and present their progress and discuss the future developments with respect to the discipline of sustainability, which is again a buzz thing which is going around. So the unique, I would say, feature is that this conference proceeding will be widely circulated using the different social media platforms to all the youth professionals who are again not just the youth professionals but also to the concerned central and state government officials for their future, I would say, development or for the for actually planning out the policies in terms of the sustainable development goals as decided by the United Nations. So this conference will bring not only, I would say, the intellectual insights, but also would inspire all the relevant stakeholders, creating more coherent movements pan India to deliver ambitious actions for a resilient future. So, with this introduction, I would like to move ahead with the program and would request my colleague Durga to just introduce the organization TERRE Policy Center Smart Campus Cloud Network. So over to you, Durga.
Yeah, hi. Thank you, Saurabh. Welcome to all. I would like to introduce their policy center, which is a non-governmental organization, and there is a French word for Earth, and it is abbreviation for technology, education, research, and rehabilitation for the environment. It is also, I mean, the organization that is a hub that shapes the minds of the citizens, and it bridges the academicians to the business corporations. Uh, I would like to introduce SCCN, that is one of its TESS, one of the flagship project. SCCN is Smart Campus Cloud Network, and I would like to just show you a simple image which will describe the whole project. So you can see on the screen that it is SCCN logo, and there are some five terms, that is youth, universities, SDGs, action, digital technologies, and carbon neutral. So Smart Campus Cloud Network is all about this. It is a network of universities which has the students, the youth, and it basically helps the universities to align their activities towards United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, and SCCN believes in action, and all the activities, all the success stories, all the knowledge sharing that is done by the universities is shared through a digital dashboard, that is a cloud dashboard. And one of its initiatives, which is in partnership with AICT is a carbon neutrality initiative that is called as Not Zero Net Zero, which looks forward to convert this campuses, the smart campuses, into a carbon neutral campuses, and which contributes in the uh, India's target of achieving net zero emissions by the year 2070. That is all about SCCL. So it is a network of 400 universities all around India, as well as we have international universities in our network, and almost 250 universities have signed the pledge for carbon neutrality. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Durga. That was a kind introduction. Now, I would like to ask my friend like Vidhi to please introduce Mazha Career Guide Foundation, who is again one of the organizing partners for this program. So,
Thank you, Saurav. Hello, everyone. I am the founder of Mazha Career Guide Foundation. We are basically a group of enthusiasts, especially the youth, connecting across the country and working in the domain of education. We work in the direction of education awareness, career guidance, and employment. We believe that every student has the potential to contribute positively to the society. All that is needed is a customized career which will fulfill not only its the his or her interest, but also the need, or what we call as employment. So we are basically working as a bridging gap between the need and the interest of the students. So this is all a very brief introduction about our foundation, and I would like to request our guests to please visit our website and have a look upon that. Thank you so much.
thank you, Vidhi. Thank you for that in like giving us the idea of what the organization is actually working upon. So we'll move ahead with as per our scheduled program, and would now I would like to introduce our first guest, Mr. Ajay Phatak sir, for the audience. So Mr. Ajay Phatak, he is currently working as a trustee and a faculty at the Ecological Society, and he teaches environmental history, energy, ecological economics, business and society and sustainability. He is also on the board of trustees of TERRE Policy Center, which is again one of the organizing partners here. He also teaches at the Symbiosis College in SCM HRD. So Ajay sir is an independent professional who was formerly the vice president at Harman Connected Services, service division of Harman and Samsung. So he advises early stage startup companies predominantly in healthcare and environment space. He is a co-founder of Smart Vitals, a company focused on remote patient monitoring through sensor to cloud route. His expertise lies in real-time communication and control, from embedded to distributed software applications, predominantly in connected healthcare, industrial, and environmental systems. His experience in business development, engineering, and product management has helped product engineers, services, business units dealing with high technology communication, healthcare, and industry to deliver customers with innovative solutions. He is passionate about innovation and new product development. He has architected many real time software products and solutions which have delivered concrete top and bottom line benefits to end users. His cross disciplinary background in engineering, computer science, and coupled with significant management experience as CEO for 17 years and business unit head for 8 years and Vice President of Engineering and Product Management, has helped customer derive value from many of their solutions. So he is certainly an invited speaker at several events on topics ranging from technology, entrepreneurship, sustainability, energy, and ecological economics. Also, Ajay sir is also known as an ultra cyclist, and which I would request sir to please also bit of elaborate during his talk. So we would like to now give the floor to Mr. Ajay for his kind address. So,
Thank you, Saurav, and thank you, Durga, for explaining and talking a little bit about TERRE Policy Center. So, a few things I would like to talk about before I receive a few more questions, hopefully from all of you. When we talk about climate crisis, we are our topic, and our area of discussions today is more on sustainability and how are we going to face or manage the climate crisis which is looming today. There are, as most of you and most of our students know a little bit about, are two important words. The words which have been used are mitigation and adaptation. And those who are in this particular subject space very much know about these words. And both these are very important. And if you really look at another important dimension of sustainability, which is what I call as a spatial dimension. When I say spatial dimension, it essentially means that today we are some 7.3 billion people living today, and not everybody, for example, is able to be at the same level, right? You have people who have billions and trillions of dollars in their market cap, in their value, and there are people who are still living at 32 rupees a day. So this aspect of issue of what I call as equity is front and center of the argument of what I call as the spatial dimension of sustainability. And most of us, fortunately or unfortunately, are focused on the temporal aspect of sustainability. When I say temporal aspect, it essentially means we talk about intergenerational equity. But in the first place, if we do not have equity in this generation itself, is it a good idea to talk about intergenerational equity, or do we really need to make sure that both these arguments are well balanced? And that is one of the important things that all of us must understand, that there are arguments which are made by especially countries like India, that we have a right to continue to develop in some form or shape. Now, whether our development policies are aligned to sustainability, whether they should be better aligned to sustainability, are all the questions which are open, and they will be answered in coming decades. But the point is very important that at one point, at one level, we need to appreciate that there is a challenge in equitability. There's not enough equity around the globe. And of course, the second part, which is very much in focus, primarily because of the way Western sustainability thinkers have talked about, is the aspect of intergenerational equity, where they see and they believe that there is enough for example, if you look at the West, especially both Europe and the US, they pretty much know that for their average citizen, the minimum needs are more than fulfilled. And now, they have a possibility of thinking about the future. Now, while we in our designing our policies have certainly need to think about the future, but we cannot ignore the present. And that is one of the important points I just wanted to mention, because many times this is missed. And you will actually see some set of people who are saying that climate justice is most important, while other set of people are saying that intergenerational equity is most important. What I want to bring forth is neither of that is singularly important. Both aspects are equally important, and we must see that our policies are appropriately designed so that while we meet the needs of the present, which is of course the statement on sustainability talks about, but not so much emphasized upon, and also of course taking care of the future. So I think both these aspects are very crucial. Another very important aspect that we must understand is I use the word that we are addicted to energy. And when I say addicted, we are literally addicted to energy. You try to remove one type of energy from your life and you feel that I have no life, right? But that was not so 10,000 years ago. People still lived, people still had their festivals. They still continued to work as a community, live as a community. So we need to learn from the way people have been living and how we can move forward to figure out that in spite of reducing our overall energy needs, how can we live well? One of the challenge that I always see is people talk about saying that we will meet all the energy needs with solar or wind or X or Y, right? And that's something we try and focus on. But we don't really understand the dimension of consumption of energy that is increased. Just within 10,000 years, for that matter, I would say just within 200 years, we have probably grown our energy needs from 1 unit or maybe 10 units to 66,000 units or 60,000 units. Now that's something to think about. Why are we actually increasing the rate at which we consume energy? And can we do something about it? Can we actually not consume this energy at all? The other dimension that people continue to focus on is efficiency, right? And efficiency, if you really look at, is good and bad. And why I say good and bad, I'll give you an interesting example. Right, at one point in time, in 1950s, so that's not really one point in time, it's just 50, 60 years ago, we used to use transistors, and those were basically cathode ray tubes, and the individual transistor consumed a substantial amount of energy in watts, probably, right? The power in watts, and in the energy in kilojoules, right? And today, the same transistor, which is now based on silicon, consumes hardly any energy, right? Its power requirement is in microwatts. But if you look at aggregate consumption of all the transistors in 1950 and all the transistors, when I say transistor, it's a triode, it's a silicon chip, something which goes into a silicon chip. Today, we see orders of magnitude of increasing energy. Now, this is paradoxical, but that is reality. And it has happened not just for an example that I gave, but it has happened for almost every device which has improved efficiency. And why does it happen? Because psychologically, when we say that the device efficiency has improved, we now feel that I am okay to use any number of devices. And what happens, therefore, is we land up increasing the number of devices so much that the aggregate energy use, instead of decreasing, increases. And that's also one very important aspect. And as we go into the future, because of the fact that we have become energy addicts, we'll have to find ways of de-addiction. And what are the ways of de-addiction? And I'll give you a couple of interesting scenarios where the work that has been done so far, the work that has been done over a period of time, can very well be put to use if we change the way we think about our needs, right? So I will give you some examples, some examples which I always keep quoting, which are very dear to most of the younger generation, and therefore I will continue to use those, because those are seen, those are used as icons of success. Right? So, for example, one of your friends, let's say, who is working in an industry for 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, buys a BMW, right? Now everybody feels fantastic, the fellow has arrived. Now, the point that I want to make is that why are we associating a product with our aspirations? Our aspirations, if you really look at it and you start reflecting upon, are not about owning a product. They're about how this product is actually used to simplify our life or make our life a little bit easier. Right? For example, now a car is used for commute, whether it's a BMW or a Tesla or a Maruti, or for that matter, a mere bicycle that I use most of the time. The point is that, anything that you use is used for commuting. And your objective is not really to use a car. It's not about using a bus. It's not about using a bicycle. The objective is going from point A to point B comfortably. Now, when you say comfortably, I also have to add a word sustainably. And now when you start choosing what is the best way to go from point A to point B, comfortably and sustainably, now you will start choosing a better option that you have, right? So I think this is a very important example of why I believe that we have to start looking at why are we using a particular product in the first place. And because of the fact that we do not ask these questions, why, we'll end up solving the wrong problems. And when I say wrong problems, what is the wrong problem? So for example, now your friend 15 years in the industry buys a BMW. The next best, the next person in the ladder says that my boss has bought BMW. I must find out how I can buy the next BMW, right? And we are increasing the demand of BMWs without worrying about whether these BMWs can be actually driven at 250 kilometers an hour, right? Which they are designed for. We probably drive them in cities at 5 kilometers an hour. And that's not what we really want, right? That's not why the car is in the first place, right? So the association of a product with your aspiration, with your image is a fallacy. You really don't need a particular product per se, but you need a particular service, in this case, mobility. For that matter, we can go further, saying that, why do you need mobility in the first place? Okay, you say, okay, I want to meet a person. Fine. Do you really want to meet a person in person? That is, do you want to have a cup of coffee with him, for example? Then it's worth going and meeting a person, right? If it's just about a conversation on a business deal, you can just use Zoom meeting and finish it off, right? And with COVID, some of the positive side effects of COVID, as you see, are that people are getting used to it as well, right? So then we move from mobility to access. So do I really want access or do I really want mobility? Now, as I start asking these questions more and more, and for many services, you will start realizing that my load on use of energy as one of the important natural resource, right, or use of any other material resource starts decreasing. Let me give you another example. Right? Take an example of an air conditioner. Again, this I have quoted it many times, and I like to use it because people relate to it very quickly in hot summers. Right? In winters, I'll probably use a different example. In hot summers, everybody feels so nice. I'm living in I'm sitting in an air-conditioned office. Right? But the point here is not really an air conditioner. The point here is, my interest is in making sure that I'm comfortably sitting in the office, feeling cool, and I'm able to function, right? So that's the objective. So if you say that my objective of installing an air conditioner is not air conditioner itself, it's actually making sure that I have cool air, right? So now, today what happens is, if we now look at some of the production systems and consumption systems, let's continue on this particular case of an air conditioner, is that people say that I want to buy air conditioner from Siemens, or I want to buy air conditioner from Carrier, or I want to buy an inverter ready air conditioner because it is efficient, etc. But people kind of lose context, as I said, that why are we wanting this air conditioner in the first place? Now, if I see it from an air conditioner manufacturing company, in the today's economic system, they are going to say that I want to sell as many air conditioners as possible. What is the outcome from a sustainability standpoint? Increasing use of material, increasing use of plastics, increasing requirement of electricity, increasing use of energy, right? And they would want that every third year they want to replace the air conditioner, and this continues. Hardly sustainable, right? So now if we say that instead of doing that, my air conditioner company said that I'm not in the business of selling air conditioners anymore. I'm in the business of selling, or I'm in the business of selling comfort, right? Now, if we say that my business is different, my actions are different. That means that I do not even sell the machine to the customer. I essentially say that whichever way I want to make you comfortable, whether it is using an air conditioner or without it, I will do that. And for that, you should pay me 50 rupees a month, 100 rupees a month, whatever that might be, right? Now, what are the advantages to the user? For the user, he doesn't have to buy a 40,000 rupee worth air conditioner in the first place, right? He can get in and say, okay, I'll pay 100, 200 rupees, whatever, every month, and be happy, be comfortable, right? The second is that for an air conditioner maker, he creates a valuable revenue stream. Now, if some of you are in business or those who understand business language, quality of revenue is very important. What is quality of revenue? Quality of revenue means that can I continue to earn this revenue year on year? Now, in the current context, when I sell an air conditioner, my quality of revenue is not great because I don't know when am I going to sell the next one. But when am I selling the comfort with a subscription model, for example, I continue to earn that revenue month after month after month, year after year after year. So my quality of revenue is better, correct? The third interesting thing happens. That is that as a producer, I would want my equipment to last as many years as possible. Because now, it is my equipment, right? I don't want to replace it unless it is absolutely necessary because it's additional investment, as long as it is delivering comfort. So now what happens is number of air conditioners that I will probably produce is going to reduce and not increase. What does that mean? It means that less load on natural resources. You're going to need less plastic, less metal, less everything. But at the same time, and correspondingly, even less energy. So many things will happen. So these are the kinds of shifts that we need to start looking at when we start thinking about how am I going to satisfy my needs in the future. And at the same time, I'm able to articulate my actions very well. So Saurav tomorrow decides that, because I want to be flexible, I'm going to use a bicycle, rather than a BMW in Pune. He should be looked upon because he has made the right decision. Not just it's comfortable, it's, you can move very easily. In addition, and in fact, I was going to talk about it, it's also going to provide you more benefits in terms of health. Right. So it's going to be, you don't have to probably consume more medicines, you will be saved from diabetes, you'll be saved from high blood pressure and whatnot. So a choice that you make, if it is aligned with two very interesting umbrella concepts called environmental health and human health, will take you somewhere. If you don't align with these two, then we cannot really talk about sustainability. With this, I'll stop. You can ask me more questions.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Ajay. And certainly I agree, again, dependence on, again, the natural resources, or in terms of the equity that is certainly missing out in our world today, has certainly to be synced together. And there are some questions, but I guess we'll be taking them ahead after our talk with Mr. Simadeep. So yeah, before we start, I would just quickly like to introduce our next guest today, Mr. Simadeep Singh Syal. So Mr. Simadeep is an engineer turned lawyer, a youth crusader, a social entrepreneur, and currently he is the CEO of Corporate Solutions and Resilience Firm. He is a President of India awardee for National Service Scheme with respect to the immense work that he has done with respect in the sector of the society, and particularly towards the environmental actions in terms of development of youth and preparing them or making them sustainable ready or making them future, I would say future ready in terms of the youth coming from specifically the state of Chhattisgarh. So he was also a BRICS India diplomat to Brazil in the fifth BRICS Youth Summit. He has been working closely with the Ministry of Youth Affairs, Sports for National Service Scheme and Nehru Yuva Kendra Sangathan. And he has been the coordinator of Bharatiya Chhatra Sansad, and he basically hails from Raipur, Chhattisgarh. He has been actively involved into projects of Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao, Swachhata Bharat Abhiyan, Green Village Mission, education, motivation, and awareness programs, environmental awareness programs, Make in India missions. And he has worked closely with the state resource person as a state resource person for National Service Scheme under Ministry of Youth Affairs and Sports Government of Chhattisgarh. He has been active part of Indian Red Cross Society Chhattisgarh and also a part of the Election Commission of India. So Simardeep is certainly a youth, I would say, coming on directly from, I would say, working on the ground, and has been a person of motivation and inspiration for many of us, specifically for the students coming from colleges and universities, or maybe from students into their schools. So over to you, Simadeep. We would like to hear from you how exactly has it been, about a bit about your journey also. So the floor is yours now.
Thank you so much, Saurabh. Am I audible? Okay. So I don't feel that I have done so much of work, how much you have said, but certainly the things you have said, we have been part of it. My team have been part of it. I would say I'm only the face of work done by my team. So I would like to thank your TERRE Policy Center for Smart Campus Cloud Network and Mazha Career Guide Foundation to invite me on this online platform. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you so much. Uh, as I was hearing from this Miss Vidhi and about what guidance and the filling of gap between a student and a job and professional entrepreneurship. So you guys are doing very wonderful job. I would like to gain some more knowledge about your this project. So we'll get in touch. And similarly, what Pathak sir was also sharing about his experience on SDG. So it was also amazing experience. Like if a person takes a decision on riding a bicycle, should get more appreciation than a person. Even I can buy a car and travel a whole day, but that will not contribute to SDG. So we should come into a ground level change of mindset. Uh, you know, uh, for SDG, which my experience says is we need to change the psychological and the thinking over the issue. It is not about what you are doing. It is about if you want to bring SDG, you have to change your thought process. You know, we if we make our home, we think that each and every room should have a air condition. Like this air condition topic was there, so I would like to add on it. Everyone is willing to have an air condition in everyone's room. Even in my room, I'm feeling to have right now air condition is still working. I say that we should contribute, but this thing has to come by us only. If we want to change the perspective, if we don't change the perspective, how will we motivate others to change? This is my point. So, for example, today also my air condition is hardly, it works only for 1 hour to 2 hours. That is just this period of when it is very hot. From in the place where I stay, it is in Raigad, Chhattisgarh. complete area is full of fields of coal and industries. More than 200 plus industries are here, so it is very hot, around 40-42 degree. So I have some foundation to run, so I am running. Otherwise, the motivation that no, it is contributing towards if I run this for a whole day, can degrade our environment. So this whole thought process should come. Then only we can bring a change in the society. I still remember when we were in BRICS in the Brazil, representing government of India for SDGs and youth empowerment and social entrepreneurship. So there was one question, everyone had in their mind. My friends from Russia, Brazil, South Africa, and we even Chinese were into a thought that what change we youth can bring if you want to bring some SDG goals. We want to do something, but we are not that much empowered until and unless we gain some professional benefit. For example, if we become something in ministry, or if we have a bureaucracy portfolio, or if we are into a profession, then only we can do this. For something which outcome has come. So I still remember 2 or 3 friends from Russia. They were just young like me only, coming into setting up their own entrepreneurship, social entrepreneurship. So one was the one who took an initiative. It was 3 years back, 2019. I'm sharing. He said that I'm going to set up a system, a company to provide solar to each and every youth in his own country, and to each and every country in India and South Africa and other places also. I still remember him, and he today has a very good turnover of his own business. He is the one to provide solar to to each. If I want to buy in India, I can also place an order to him directly in Russia. He will be the one to supply to India also. So like this, a scenario has to be developed between we youth. So this is what I would like to share my experience. Like, we only have to decide, the youth have to decide that yes, I want to bring a change, and this is the change. How to bring a change can be discussed, but yes, we are in a thought process that yes, we youth have that ability to change, to bring the change in this sustainable development goals. There, all those goals are nothing if we don't want to take it forward. I still remember when I was in school, there was sustainable goals 2020. When I was in college, it got 2024, 25, and then now we are working on 2030. Someday will come, our next generation will talk about SDG 2060. So this will go on. It never ends. Some like Saurabh Datta's son, and might be our children will think about 2090, or I think so 2200, SDG 2200. So this concept of UNDP will go on. But what contribution we can give to sustainable development goals is the, I think so, we only have to plan and get things implemented. Clean in, our Prime Minister has brought in very good initiative, which is being hailed by all over world. Clean India, from a place I never, I don't know, my parents have also never heard, or your parents and everyone, from a Independence Day speech or Republic Day speech of Government of India, a Prime Minister is appealing to youth, to each and every citizen, to clean his own country. What best contribution to an SDG, to goal of clean this thing, clean our society can be shared. If a Prime Minister is saying to contribute, that yes, you bring some change, you clean your society. So I think so this is the biggest message to SDG what UN have planned, and we are implementing. And there are multiple goals for education. We Indians, you won't believe, it is in our own inheritity that we do in general, everyday routine, which is an SDG goal. You clean your neighborhood, you clean your home. So cleanliness is the thing which is an SDG, and we have only started it. So, for example, this is a very basic example which I am sharing. The Swachh Bharat Abhiyan, which our government of India is a biggest, you can say, uh, a plan which is still, everywhere in the world is being hailed that India Prime Minister is saying his own country to clean your country and contribute toward SDG. So like this, many more things have come. uh, you know uh, Zero poverty, no poverty cannot be bring and brought in a single day, I think so. It has a very huge, it needs some time. Each and every country needs some time. And these goals are a long lasting goal. What you are contributing from your end, you contribute yourself, you contribute from your end. Your one step contribution is the biggest step for our own nation. If our nation is stepping one step, it is the biggest contribution to the whole world. So this is what my experience for SDG we are doing. I have been part of Swachh Bharat Abhiyan since 2014 when it got started. You won't believe, when we were in doing engineering, uh, our NSS camp used to be organized, and we used to go for Swachh Bharat Abhiyan every day morning. Every day morning we used to go and do cleaning, and in the evening, my parents used to call that we have never seen you cleaning your own house, and you are cleaning a village. So like this, things have come, and this is what has you know inspired people like me to contribute for your own society where you live. If we don't bring change, we are so educated, and if we don't bring change, how will we expect from a person who is illiterate, who is not that much educated, to bring a change? So this was my experience on Swachh Bharat, and you can say to our this experience of goals on SDG. There are multiple goals on which we are working currently. My working is now on partnership for goals, which I'm doing right now. So I'm looking for some collaborations in different places. For example, I'm in oil and gas industry. I'm setting up my own LPG CNG pump. So this is also one step towards cleaner energy, clean fuel. You can say to one of the SDG goal. You can say where we are contributing towards climate action, a goal 13. If we say climate action, then if I reduce some level of carbon from the environment, I'm contributing towards this SDG. So professionally also, you can do something towards sustainable development goals. And you can see, it is not a one day show, or it is not a 1 year 2 year show. It is a long period. Today you contribute, your next generation will get benefit. This is SDG in my simple terms. So I will not take much of your time. I still remember, I have some my inspirations on SDG people say that why you do, why you work all those Swachh Bharat things, and why you do contribution on this thing, uh, for your future. If I'm cleaning something, or if this, for small example, if I'm in that industry, why my parents think that why don't you, you have very good opportunities to join some IT, or you would have taken a very good lump sum package, and you would have settled, but still you are struggling on this industry where it is very tough. So I still remember what the Alibaba founder Jack Ma once said, that today is tough, tomorrow is even more harder, more tougher, but day after tomorrow you will enjoy. This is what my message to all the youth who are still struggling for your goals to achieve. So today it might be very tough for you. Tomorrow it will be very, very much tougher or very difficult. But day after tomorrow you will enjoy your aim. And maximum of people lose the tomorrow's evening. Tomorrow evening you lose, you will never enjoy day after tomorrow's achievement of your goal. So this is my motivation, and this is my message to all youth who are still struggling for their goals. somehow it will take some time. You know, I never thought that government of India will send me to Brazil and pay a 3 lakh rupees business class ticket to a place in Brasilia to represent government of India in BRICS summit. I never thought in my life. I was struggling. I was giving my best to SDGs, and somehow somebody recognized my thing, and I got achieved. I got president award for the same thing. The government of India, you know, at a very young age of 23, when you walk in on the place on the Darbar Hall where big dignitaries have achieved their lifetime achievement, and you are at a very young age, if you travel, you walk on that same red carpet. So I think so. This is the achievement which comes. You know, today is hard, tomorrow is much harder, but day after tomorrow you will enjoy. So somehow in some goals I have enjoyed my day after thing, but still I am working on my aim, my SDGs, to contribute to to think about my future generation, what I can give to them. So this is my submission, and thank you so much to Terry and both the organization to invite me on this place. I'm very much blessed. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Simadeep. Certainly, this was quite a motivation, I think, for certainly the youth today. And also out of the experiences and out of the practices being followed by you would certainly inspire many others. So we'll move ahead with some of the questions to our both the speakers, Mr. Ajay and Mr. Simadeep. So to start with, like for Mr. Ajay, it's a question of like, if if sir, you can explain just in brief how the economy of a country like is interlinked with certainly the sustainability practices or policies being adopted again by the country. So how we can say the economy would be directly impacted out of the policies and programs being adopted by the government.
Actually, I like to turn the question on its head. So instead of saying that, how economy is affected, I raise a question, why do you want to put economy in the center stage, right? Let's ask a question again, like we did in our previous session. Let's ask a question, what is economy for? Right? Why do we need economy in the first place, right? Now, if we ask a question, we start thinking about things which are slightly different, right? Normally, which we don't think about. We just think that, yeah, let's grow GDP and everything will be great. All right. Now, the issue is not so much about economy, but about the outcomes of the economy. What does economy deliver, right? So if we really say that economy today delivers prosperity to few and not so much prosperity to many, then it's probably not the right economic system. We'll have to do something about it. We'll have to change the economic system. And then the policies have to be aligned to how these changes can actually be effected. So I always wonder why people talk so much about economic growth, because economic growth by in itself doesn't mean anything to me. Economic growth is expected to deliver something. Economic growth is expected to make sure that people are better off than not just how they were yesterday, but they should be better off generally, right? And then we also need to figure out how to deliver this in the limitations of the resources that we have, both energy and material resources that we have, whether they are biological resources like forests, which actually deliver a whole lot of services for free. When we remove them, we'll have to replace the services with quote unquote, a solution which increases economic output, but doesn't necessarily increase the well-being output. So our policies have to be aligned to well-being. And that's my statement, where most of the policies that we want to align are for growth. And we already know that growth has not necessarily delivered beyond a point. Up till a point, growth did deliver benefits, and I I don't have to say that growth is useless. I'm trying to say that focusing our policies on growth may not really deliver what we really want ultimately, which is, for example, equity, which is, for example, removal of poverty, which is, for example, gender equality. Whatever we have, actually, you can look at all the SDGs and you will realize that purely focusing on economy is not going to deliver many of these things. If probably I might even say most of these things, right? So our policy alignment has to be with respect to the outcome that we desire. And if we do that, I am quite confident that you will be able to make due changes, and we will be in a position to really deliver what we want to deliver. End of the day, right? Economic system is, for those who are technical here, economic system is like an operating system. It just is, right? You need something whereby you ultimately deliver applications. And so if you treat it that way, we have to find out what are the outcomes that this has to deliver. And based on that, you have to structure your economic system, not the other way. You take economic system as a given, that this is the economic system, a classical capitalistic growth-oriented economic system is going to deliver. Nobody has questioned that, whether it is delivering or not today in the first place, right? It has served the purpose to an extent up to a particular point in time, but it needs tweaking. It needs changes. And I think policies have to bring about those changes. And that should be the direction our policies take.
Right, right. Thank you so much, Mr. Rajam, elaborating it and taking it to the right way, I would say, how we perceive economy, or the understanding of it for the people or for normal citizens like us. So moving ahead with a different question to Mr. Sumadeep, which is like, since you have been part of the BRICS Youth Summit or the Youth Forum, so what is the current global scenario like from the perspective of youth, or when it comes to taking action towards achieving the goals of SDGs, or towards, I would say, having a perception, like the perception of the country as a whole in like India. So yeah, over to you, Sumit.
Thank you, Saurabh. I would like to uh, express my views, like what actually we witnessed in BRICS. It was very different scenario for a youth like me to visit a place in Brazil and see and interact with people from multiple domains. Somebody's a big director of a big multiple giant company, and somebody is a minister, somebody is a youth federation president, somebody's from South African youth minister was there. So it was a very nice experience. What I witnessed as my experience is there was a spark in each and every youth who were there. They all wanted to contribute for something called sustainable development goals, and each and everyone is very clear on which goal they wanted to work. Very clear. For example, I was not that much clear on my point that what I was doing, but like I was doing sometimes clean, clean energy. I was doing sometimes for no poverty. We are doing something, multiple for quality education. Sometimes involved. Sometimes I was involved in clean water and sanitization. Goal number 6. I was in multiple goals. That each and every goal I have something. Then I realized I am, jack of all and master of none there, if I can say in a line that I was jack of all but master of none. So there I felt this thing that we we are into each and every SDG goal, but out of India people are that much clear that yes, we want to contribute in this industry, we want to contribute in youth energy, we want to contribute in partnership for goals. So the perception of youth outside India, if I say in Russia, Russians are very smart, Chinese are very focused, Africans have huge energy, Brazil I can say they are just like Indians. You know, we were into the same trauma, and they were the host country, so I feel the same thing with them also. But I learned something that after my summit, this has bring a change into me, that I have to get focused on a one single goal, and I have to step the ladder in that single goal only. So this was, the spark in youth there, which I have taken from them. You can work on everything. You work on everything. There is no problem in that. But you focus on a one single goal on a much more priority basis. Then only you can bring a change. Otherwise, it is just uh, littering around everywhere, and you will not achieve something. So the concept which I have inspired and I have taken from my people, we used to have a group discussion in the evening, after our plenary session and our conference. Then we used to have a group discussion every on the 17 goals. There were teams made, there were rooms, in the place where our team was going on, or this event was going on. So the goals were fixed, the rooms were fixed, people were fixed in that room, and we were the one who were jumping each and every room, because we were not so sure on which goal we can contribute much. People like me who have very good experience in clean energy, or you can say we have good health or quality education, we have worked, or gender equality also we have worked, on clean water goal number 6 we have worked, but we were not that much sure that which room is fit for us. For the 3 days or 4 days of conference, the rooms were blocked by similar people of Russia, China, Africa. The people were very similar in that same room, but we were into a trauma that where we should come and sit. So I learned this from that place, that you should be very much clear about your goal, that what goal you wanted to work, what change you want to bring in the society. Then only you can achieve something. So this was my experience in BRICS, and it doesn't matter. You are not behind them. This is a very a concept. Like if I said something now, you will feel that Indians are behind. No, no, Indians are never behind anyone. It is just that we don't know how to present things. I learned this thing, that those people outside India are very much clear with their thought process, clear with their, they don't have that much experience, they don't have that much working, which we have already done. But when it comes to presentation, we are the one we are lacking behind. So that we have learned from that summit, and now we are working more on the things which we are doing and sharing it worldwide. We have our association group, where every day we see the changes, what we do, what they do. Every year they update something. The international volunteer group is there. We have all volunteers with us. So we learn, we share good practices, we learn their good practices. For me, doing something is very common. For example, doing Swachh Bharat is very common for us, or doing giving a lecture and giving some inspiration or motivation lecture to a rural village, or doing this all things is very common for us. But on the other hand, if you go to China and Russia, for them it is very new thing, that some acha like this we can do. So sharing of good practices has to be always our main concern. What I have learned now is, you should have very good networking, your presentation should be very good, and the youth are much more clear with the thought on working on SDGs. So this is what my experience on BRICS. Now recently, we last year the BRICS was hosted by Russia. I was also part of that, and I was very uh, you know people were also similar. They were their team. If I was in the goal number 7 on clean energy, I was sitting. So I was knowing that if this person is from Russia, and if he is from the same goal, he would have definitely met the person which I have met, because he was the one very focused working on clean energy. I would say the example, there was one Mr. Alexander from Russia. He was working on clean energy. He has a youth energy group. So when I interacted with that person, the youth of Russia only, I asked, "You are in clean energy?" He said, "Yes." So with whom you are working, or with? He said about his own profile and everything. But certainly when I asked, "Do you know Mr. Alexander?" He was one. "Yes, sir. I was the one working with him, and under him I took a guidance." So this made me something clear that yes, this is second level of leadership which those countries have followed. And definitely I have also started on this. I push youth from across our city to come into the things which we have already done. So this was my experience. Over to you, Saurabh.
Thank you, Mr. Simati, for sharing that insight right from the ground reality, or I would say from your clear-cut experience out of it. So now I would like to give the floor to Vidhi for welcoming our next guest today. So over to you, Vidhi.
Thank you so much, Saurav. Thank you so much, Ajay sir. Thank you so much, Simardeep ji, for your enlightening words. Now we are moving up towards the closing session of our two-day national conference. But the most important thing for a citizen of our country is any policy is effective when it is implemented properly. So we have someone from the implementation part, the civil servant with us. We have Mr. Abhijit Vaikos. He is currently posted as ACF, Tadoba Andheri National Park. He has completed his BTech in Electronics and Communication. He has ranked 27 in UPSC IFS 2018 and All India rank 590 in UPSC CSE 2019. He has finished his professional training from National Forest Academy, Dehradun. We are very honored to have you here, sir. I would like to request you to put some light on how administration and sustainability can be converged, can be coordinated. What are your thoughts on it? Over to you, sir. Thank you.
Good evening, all. Hope I am audible to all.
Yes, sir.
Firstly, I am very thankful to the all organization for inviting me for this very important session on the very important issue. Honestly, firstly, with compared to other speaker, I don't have that experience. Even I don't have that knowledge to talk on this very important issue. But with my limited experience and with my limited knowledge, I would definitely highlight the administrative angle of this very important topic, that is the sustainable development and climate action. Firstly, I would like to mention that we as a department never consider a sustainable development and climate action as a two different phenomena. We consider that as a very complementary and supplementary to each other. So firstly, my session will be dealing with the three important topics, that what the government is doing, what we as an administrative department is doing in terms of the sustainable development. Secondly, what new procedures or the what changes we have bring in the department or in any administrative setup which are in line with that of the sustainable development goal as well as the climate action. And the third one is during this complete implementation, what challenges we are facing. Basically, if we look at the currently the climate actions which are happening around the world as well as that of the India, it is said that it is actually led by the most of the civil society group like NGO, and even the philanthropic group like any other NGO or something. But the government is also doing a lot of things in this perspective, and I'm talking as a representative of the government. And secondly, I would like to highlight that that like a common citizen have the motivation from the angle of the responsibility that they want to contribute toward the society, but we have the obligation, we have some legal obligation, we have some administrative obligation to carry out this sustainable development goals. So I would like to highlight the few, like we in India, we have this constitutional obligations in terms of the directive principle of state policy. Even we have the legal obligation, like various environmental laws, like Environmental Protection Law 1986 actually highlight the few. Then the recent one, 2006 one, Energy Efficient Law actually have given a lot of the obligation on an administrative department. Even the government of India has come up with the various action plan, like the National Action Plan national plan on the climate action, which consists of the lot of the number of the missions like that of the Green India mission, national water policy, and other thing. Even on global front, as Simardeep told that the India has given number of the commitment on the global forum like that of the we have seen in case of the Paris Agreement, we have mentioned our INDCs. So from point of view of the administration, we have that obligation. And the most important thing that many times in government setup, officer lead the thing. For example, currently I am working in the Tadoba National Park. So my senior officer, which is the field director of the Tadoba National Park, have the plan of this implementation of the e-vehicle in complete national park. So he is working in that perspective. So with legal obligation, aim and goal of the officer also bring a lot of the changes in the scenario of the sustainable development. So that also become the very important. Secondly, I would like to highlight how those changes are going on, because most of the time the common there is a perception regarding the administrative setup that they are not doing anything, they are lagging in terms of their action in sustainable development or the climate action. But with limited resources, with number of the obligations, we are doing something. For example, currently I am posted in the national park, which is and it is also a tiger reserve. So we have the obligation of the promoting tourism, but along with the promoting tourism, we are doing a protection thing, as well as we are doing the sustainable development goals or various actions. So we are trying to strike a balance between different goals. So I would like to mention what we are doing in the Tadoba Andheri National Park. The first one, that we have calculated the carrying capacity of the national park, that this particular national park is actually at particular time can hold this number of the gypsies or this number of the tourists. So in that particular day, we are not allowing any other gypsy. Even each and every gypsy we are along, it's completely pollution. They have carried out, they're all completely pollution setting and the pollution checkup, and they have all the certificates. So this is the one example. Then with respect to Green India mission, which is the very important from the point of the view of the ecological balance, what we have removed 800 hectares of the encroachment in last year. And after removing that 800 encroachment, most of the politician was saying that give this land, give patta to agriculture. But we are not doing that. We are actually having started planting various indigenous trees in that particular vacant or the encroaching land. So even in terms of the clean energy, what we have replaced all the electricity that initially in park there was a protection hut. So we have actually completely powered that particular protection hut with the solar energy. So this type of the small changes. Even we have banned all plastic bottles in the park. No one is allowed to take the plastic bottle in the park. So this type of the small changes. Even in terms of the livelihood activities, which is the very important from the point of view of the sustainable development, we have carried out the reallocation of the villages, which ensures that there is a continuity in the wildlife habitat, as well as after reallocating the village, we are giving them a rehabilitation package, which include that of the agriculture land as well as the skill development activities. So basically that will reduce the dependency on the forest, as well as give their various skill. And I would like to mention that after reallocating that village from the forest, the poverty in that particular village drastically reduced. Even in terms of the providing the skill development or providing the employment to the youth, what we have done initially, all gypsy drivers, all the managers on the gate were actually a person from the department, but actually we replaced that the person from the department with that of the villagers. So it serves the two purposes. The first one, it creates the employment for the villagers, as well as second one, they help us for the in terms of the protection of the forest. Even the fire watcher during this fire season, we have all are from the nearby villages. So this type of the activity actually helping for the protection of the forest, ecological balance, as well as the creating the employment and reducing the poverty in the nearby areas. Even these are some few activities we are in line with that of the sustainable development goals, as well as that of the ensuring the ecological balance. But we all know that in terms of the we we are working in the administrative setup. So next point is the what challenges we are facing, because it is not easy to manage or to run the administrative department, because we have at the same time we have number of the goals, we have number of targets. So by focusing one target, we many times miss the other. So striking a balance is become a big challenge. For example, we all know that we are developing countries, so most of the time there is an emphasis of the government for this economic growth. So many times there the biggest challenge is to select between that of the development and sustainable goals. For example, in last 1 month, I got a proposal of the creation of the tree road, which divert almost 300 hectares of the land in the forest. So this become very much challenge to give the priority to the road or give the priority to the forest. But so this is the biggest challenge to select between two. Then many times what happened in last 2-3 years, because of the corona, there was a lot of the fund crunches in the department. So to implement the very costly this sustainable solution like that of the solar energy, even the e-vehicle, it requires huge cost. But government actually, we don't have that much of the fund to implement this particularly ecological solutions. So the cost become very big challenge. Second thing I would like to mention is that to ensure the behavioral challenge in the common people, it becomes a very big challenge in front of us. Because what happened, जब हमने ये प्लास्टिक बॉटल वाला बंद किया था नेशनल पार्क में, then every day nearly मतलब 50 से 100 कंप्लेंट आ रही थी, यार ये आप क्यों कर रहे हो, मतलब हमारी बोतल है, हम लोग नेशनल पार्क में जा रहे हैं, तो आप ये क्यों हमारे से एक्स्ट्रा पैसे ले रहे हो ग्लास बोतल का. So this type of the solution, even when we started implementing this solar plants in the national park, they even हमारे स्टाफ से ही हमें काफी चैलेंज आ गया, तो ये आप क्या कर रहे हो, it is very difficult to implement. So this type of the challenge. Then even in terms of the sustainable solution, I personally think that it is a very long process and it do not show a tangible output immediately. For example, एक मतलब plantation activities हम लोग carry कर रहे हो, तो अभी मैं मेरे यहाँ पे इंक्रोचमेंट रिमूवल के बाद एक प्लांटेशन एक्टिविटी कैरी कर रहे थे, वहाँ पे एक पॉलिटिशियन आके बोल रहे थे कि ये क्यों कर रहे हो आप, इंस्टेड ऑफ दिस यू कैन गिव दिस पर्टिकुलर लैंड टू द फार्मर्स सो दैट दे कैन अर्न सम मनी. बट लॉन्ग टाइम के लिए वो जो प्लांटेशन एक्टिविटी, इट वाज गोइंग टू ब्रिंग द ह्यूज चेंज. सो सिंस इन्वायरमेंट जो सॉल्यूशंस है, एक्टिविटीज, इट नॉट अ टेंजेबल as well as long term process hai, so it becomes many times challenge to convince politician as well as the common people to what we are doing. So this is the biggest challenge. Even if we look at the this from the point of view of the department, we the most of the government department are understaffed, or even the condition we are working, like in national park, it is far away from the city, and there are a number of the challenges, like they don't have the proper house, they don't have the electricity to live, their children don't have the schools to school for their children. So this become very challenging job for them. Even in terms of the this environmental solution, I would like to mention that all these particular actions or all this intervention are quite technical in nature. And if you look at the current the capacity building of our staff, they are not up to the mark, because most of the time what happen in climate action, they require some time of the technical knowledge, और जो हमारे staff होता है, जो forest department होते हैं या any department agriculture, they don't have that technical knowledge. So capacity building become the very much challenge, because private sector में क्या होता है, जैसे सिमरदीप जो है वो काम कर रहा है कोई, और उन्होंने कुछ लोगों को employ करता है, तो he is very much aware that उन लोगों को कुछ प्री रिक्विजिट वाले कुछ टेक्निकल नॉलेज होगा. बट फॉरेस्ट डिपार्टमेंट में तो ऐसा नहीं होता है. दे आर वर्किंग सिंस 20 इयर्स, और अभी हम लोग बता रहे हैं कि क्लाइमेट चेंज की चीजें हम लोग को इम्प्लीमेंट करनी है. दे आर लाइक कि सर आप क्या बता रहे हो, मतलब इतने बार बहुत सारे बार ऐसे होता है कि मुझे तो कि सोलर सर क्यों इम्प्लीमेंट कर रहे हैं, अच्छा चल रहा है सर, इलेक्ट्रिसिटी तो बढ़िया चल रहा है, क्यों करना है सोलर इम्प्लीमेंट, ठीक है, ये बॉटल क्यों बंद कर रहे हो. तो उनका इतना अवेयरनेस उनकी तरफ नहीं होता है. सो कैपेसिटी डेवलपमेंट बिकम द वेरी मच चैलेंज. बट एट लास्ट आई वांट टू से दैट कि चीजें हो रही है स्लो पेस में, because the firstly government is very positive, the current central government as well as the all state government are very positive with respect to that of the sustainable development. Even the very good organization like Niti Aayog, they have a separate department, they have separate cells to look for this particular climate action as well as that of the sustainable development. So things are going on. Even I would like to mention about the one thing, that all government department are getting very good cooperation from the private sector. Like in last month, we have got CSR fund from the nearly 4 very reputation companies, and they are doing very good work in terms of the ecological balance in the national park, as well as creating a skill livelihood activity. Like ICICI Foundation has started giving the skill development activity to our villagers, nearby villagers in the Tadwa National Park. So this type of, we are getting very good cooperation. And even with respect to penetration of the knowledge with the help of the social media, the people are getting aware very much. Like मतलब बहुत बार जो हम लोग वर्कशॉप अरेंज करते हैं, उनको भी काफी कॉमन पीपल का एक अच्छा रिस्पांस मिलता है. So I guess things are going in good direction, but two important things we need. First one, the behavioral change from the people side, and the capacity building from the government side. If we do this simultaneously, I think we are on the right path. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir, for your enlightening words. And I hope that we can move towards the very formal session known as vote of thanks. But before that, what we had today, or on the second day of our conference, was Ajay Pathak sir took us to the depth of sustainability, whereas Simardeep ji has increased our energy by introducing how youth can contribute to sustainability. And also at last, we found that we always look for the politician with their policies coming up, but what is there in the backside? I mean, how administration is working, what are the challenges? And as Abhijit sir has rightly mentioned, that behavioral changes is one thing that is expected from a common citizen or a common man of this country. Of course, we cannot, at this moment, cannot talk about the capacity building from the government side, but we can definitely contribute on the behavioral changes of the citizen of our country. So moving towards the vote of thanks, this successful event was an amalgamation of efforts from many people who are coming together. We have successfully completed this 2-day National Roundtable Conference on Sustainability and Development with the aim of creating awareness amongst the student community on sustainability, environment, and associated aspects related to it. TERRE Policy Center and Mazha Career Guide Foundation has jointly organized this very special event, and it makes me feel really very, very happy and delighted that we have successfully completed the program. I take this opportunity to thank today's speaker, Mr. Ajay Pathak sir, Mr. Sayal Simardeep ji, and Mr. Abhijit Vaikus sir for their valuable inputs, time, and enlightenment. I also thank the team TERRE and the members of MCGF for the support and cooperation. I also thank Mr. Saurav Datta and Ms. Durga for their efforts and a very smoothful moderation of this program, and also to the viewers who have been showing their interest, their passion towards sustainability, and actually have taken a step towards the sustainable development goals. Keep watching, stay tuned. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank